Welcome to Nachsimanim. I'm Jacob Thomas, and today we will be learning Shmuel Bet, perek Yud Zayin. This perek begins with Achitophel's counsel to Avshalom that he should immediately go to David with 12,000 men while he is tired from the journey and kill him. Hushai says, no. Remember, Hushai has been sent by David to try to convince Avshalom not to follow Achitophel's opinion, because Achitophel's opinion is very good. And he says, no. David's a really strong army man. He's going to kill one of your guys, and they're all going to be afraid. So, you should get a massive army from all over Israel and attack him in the day, or not at this time. And you should build up your army to be much stronger. Now, because of God, Avshalom decides to follow Hushai's advice instead of Achitophel's. So, Tzadok and Evyatar, the sons have sons, Yonatan and Achimaaz, who were spies. So Hushai then tells them, who then went to Ein Rogel to take the news to David. A servant sees and alerts Avshalom, and the young men flee to a house in Bechurim, where they hide inside a deep well, where a woman then distracts the guards, misdirects them, saving the messengers, who then are able to tell David about the plan. Now Achitophel realizes that his advice was ignored in favor of Hushai's, and he realizes the rebellion is doomed, and likely for being the main conspirator, he's going to be killed too. And David will have time to regroup and will win. In despair, he returns to Gilo, he puts his affairs in order, and then he kills himself, which shows how much he held himself to such an esteem of his counsel. Then we have the supporters of David at Machanaim, who give David food and help David regain strength before the battle. As a recap, we have the dual advice where Hushai is able to subvert Achitophel's plan to kill David. We have the secret mission of Yonatan and Achimaaz, where they're going to try to send back information to David. We have Achitophel's end, where he realizes advice is not being followed, and he goes to end his own life. And we have David's loyal friends, Barzillai and other people who feed David. We are in perek Yud Zayin, so just like Zichru, we use a used car. Here's the simon. The used car salesman gives David a used car to help him escape from death. This reminds us how David is running away, and Avshalom is deciding what to do about the rebellion and how to defeat his father, where Achitophel gives him advice to attack now, where Hushai gives him advice to attack later. The later attack is used, and David has time to run away in his used car before they're able to gather such a big army to properly defeat David, leading to Achitophel to kill himself when he realizes his advice is not being used like a used car. The used car salesman gives David a used car to help him escape from death. We're now going to do a 4-perek back chazar, starting with perek Yud Gimel. Tamar, in which we use a bar mitzvah boy, because you become a bar mitzvah at the age of 13. Tamar serves her brother who pretended to be sick on his bar mitzvah. This reminds us how Amnon was infatuated by his sister. He gets bad advice from his friend, who he is related to pretend to be sick, in which she will care for him and give him food, in which he will take advantage of her. He does this, leading Avshalom to be very bad at Amnon, leading Avshalom to kill Amnon and get exiled. Now we're in perek Yud Dalet, in which we use a juggler, because Yud Dalet is Yad, which is a hand, we use a juggler to make it more distinct. Yoav performs a juggling act in order to reunite David and Avshalom. This reminds us how Avshalom was still exiled at this time for killing Amnon, and Yoav knows this, gets David and Avshalom to come together, and Avshalom is first brought back into Yerushalayim. but is not able to see David. Later Avshalom goes to Yoav and gets him to see David. Yoav does this by juggling together all the pieces and getting a wise man from Tekoa to talk to David. We're in perek tet vav, in which we use a fruit and fruit bowl, because tet vav is tu vishvat, which reminds us of fruit, and fruit often goes in a bowl. Avshalom wins over the people's heart with heart-shaped fruit. This reminds us how when Avshalom comes back, he starts to sit at the gate of the courthouse and talks to people and tells them how, I would judge in your favor, making people go to his side, starts to act like king, and then at a certain point just announces he's king, and leading David to flee to not start a war, killing people. Now, perek tet zayin, in which we use an acrobat with big toes. Tet zayin is toes, and we use an acrobat with big toes. The big toe acrobat curses out David after stubbing his big toes. This reminds us how, as David is escaping, Shimei curses David, saying horrible things, and his servants want to kill Shimei, but David says, "This is all from God. Don't kill him." And David gets supplies and begins to regroup and sends people to Avshalom, who he thinks will be good spies. We're now going to do a 10-question pop quiz. In which perek does Achitophel commit suicide after his counsel is rejected? Perek Yud Zayin. In which perek does David flee Yerushalayim while weeping and walking barefoot? Perek Tet Vav. In which perek does Hushai advise Avshalom to gather a massive army from all of Israel? Shmuel Bet, perek Yud Zayin. In which perek does Barzillai and Shobi bring beds and food to David at Machanaim? Shmuel Bet, perek Yud Zayin. In which perek is Amnon killed by Avshalom's servants at a feast of shearing sheep? Shmuel Bet, perek Yud Gimel. In which perek does David restore Mephibosheth's land and invite him to his table? Shmuel Bet, perek Tet. In which perek does Natan Navi tell David the parable of the poor man's lamb? Shmuel Bet, perek Yud Bet. In which perek does Yoav use the words of the woman of Tekoa to bring Avshalom back to David? Shmuel Bet, perek Yud Daled. Shmuel Aleph bonus question: in which perek does David spare Shaul's life in the cave at Ein Gedi? Shmuel Aleph, perek Chav Daled. Shoftim bonus question: in which perek does Shimshon possess a riddle about a lion and honey? Shoftim, perek Yud Daled. That is it for today. May we be zucha to finish all of Nach, one perek at a time, and remember it day after day. Have a wonderful day.